So, okay. Oh, wait.
Okay. Hi, everyone,
Such a
and well,
stress when you forget to press record, isn't it?
yeah, indeed. This is Rachel Allen speaking to us. In the group, we've got 10 of our networking. We're down on numbers a bit today, but one of them, Michael Weir, said, "Alan, be nice to Rachel. We want her to come back." So, okay, so we are going to be well behaved today, Rachel, and we're loving what you're going to present. For those of you who
Okay.
don't know Rachel, she's a social media specialist and has got an amazingly good reputation. Her two main claims to fame are that she's appeared in the Daily Mail talking about PR, etc. Twice, which is more than I have. So Rachel, do you want to talk to us about social media? Off you go.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Rachel Allen, and my business is Making Business Social. So we offer social media coaching to help busy business owners who lack the time and inspiration to get visible online. So today I wanted to talk about the two biggest social media trends of the Roaring Twenties so far. So obviously it has been a slightly odd start to the decade. However, we did have two new entrants in the social media world kind of really take the 20s by storm. So the first one being TikTok. So last year, this was particularly popular. I think while everybody was locked in their houses, we were, doing these viral challenges and what have you. So just a couple of stats about each of these two platforms. And as the presentation goes on, I'm going to talk about, give you some ways that you might want to utilize these platforms in your existing social media marketing. So TikTok's great for 15 to 60-second videos, and it's really about engagement. It's about coming up with really sort of high quality videos. You can be a little bit more casual and a bit more humorous with it. It does work really well, and I've got an example that I created to share with you. TikTok has an AI algorithm. So and algorithms scare me because they're very complicated and they change all of the time. But basically, if you're tagging your content in the right way, you can really expand your reach, and it really you can kind of reach a lot of the right people because the algorithm is kind of set to help you if you tag correctly and you've got really engaging content. This platform is particularly popular with Generation Z. So if you're working in that market, then particularly consumer markets, then that's something that you might want to really look into. Interestingly, more user time is spent on TikTok than it does on Facebook. So you kind of go into TikTok and you can kind of end up in a bit of a rabbit hole, like watching content. The latest stats show that there's 700 million active users. So not so many, but they're spending a lot of time on there. Clubhouse is the audio only networking, and it really exploded onto the scene in 2021. So it was initially only, it's invite only and only available for people with Apple phones. But that's being rolled out to some Android devices now. But they really built this kind of scarcity, around it, like, you felt like you were missing out. Like the FOMO on their campaign was incredible. What's really good about Clubhouse is that it's audio, so there's no silly dancing, there's no need for video cameras, and you don't need to dress up. It's audio, so you can literally do it in your pajamas from bed. I know that's not what the rules are here, but I think people were just so fatigued with Zoom. I think that it really came at quite at the right time. 10 million active users, which is an increase of 9.5 million per year. So it is very much in its infancy. It's a startup. But it is really growing and very popular. So if you let me know in the chat if you're using TikTok or Clubhouse, maybe pop your details in as well. One of the big things about social media is Facebook just isn't cool anymore. I was trying to find one of a teenager with cringing over an image of a teenager with. I couldn't find quite the right image, but people don't want to be like, the youngsters don't want to be on Facebook anymore because their mum and their nan are on there, and it's just really cringy. So V, you've got Legal Boss Lady on TikTok. It'd be great to find out when we go into discussion how you're getting on with that. That'd be awesome. So although Facebook's not cool anymore, in my opinion, it's still important. And this is the reason why. There's 2.85 billion active users on Facebook globally. So there's a lot of people you can still do business with. You know, and I just think as well with content, people need to stop thinking about the mechanics of the platform, but actually it's about making sure that you've got your offer right and your message right and your targeting right for your audience. Then worry about the channels. Like you don't need to particularly focus on that at the moment. And to me, this is the key to social media success. It's about engagement. It's about being either entertaining or informative, being fun, being consistent, and building relationships. There's loads of elements to engagement, but there's just a couple of things. And I do feel with, you know, I go to a lot of social media talks and presentations, and there's a lot of focus on, you know, the algorithm and how to get, you know, how to do this and what have you. It's about getting back to basics. It's about making sure that the content you're putting out is going to tick some of those requirements, really. You know, making sure that you're putting out content that your an education that your followers will find useful. You know, people, we just, you know, there's all this new stuff, but, you know, don't forget the basics is, I think, the key message here. But how can you do this without silly dancing and pointing at stuff? I think it's really important to integrate your new channels into your existing social media marketing. So I launched a room with a friend of mine who does digital marketing, and we were doing regular Clubhouse on there. So what we were doing was using the conversations that we were having on Clubhouse. And the great thing is, because it's Clubhouse, it's audio only. It's like you're having a conversation around a table, particularly if you've got a room that's, you know, pretty, you know, fairly small. You can have quite a nice two-way conversation, and you can really get to know and understand your customer and their problems. And you can use that to inform your marketing, use that for your blog, use that for your social media content. That is, you know, the start when Clubhouse came out, that was how I was generating my blog plan, was through that. So you can see how those two things were sort of fairly well integrated. So I would definitely say, if you're looking at Clubhouse, you know, don't just turn up and do a room if you're hosting a room, or even if you're attending a room. Use that to inform your social media. Talk about the conversations that you're having on your own platforms. Like, don't use these platforms in isolation. I think also it's worth making sure that your Clubhouse profile is optimized to drive people to your existing channels. So if you set up a Clubhouse profile, you've got quite a big space to write your bio. You can do quite a lot with it and make it look really, really sharp. So Clubhouse allows you to link to your Twitter and Instagram profiles, and you can also include links to your Facebook page, or I would say it's better to drive people to your Facebook group. So put in your real compelling offer there. So you can start to see how these channels are kind of like working to integrate with each other. And TikTok can work across multiple social media platforms. So I've got an example at the end, but you can use TikTok to create some fun social posts. Again, the most important thing is a good quality message where you're solving a problem. And then you can increase your reach by using the TikTok AI algorithm. So making sure that, you know, you've got your post tagged correctly so that it shows up in the correct people's feed. Okay. So what I would do is, from TikTok, save your video files to use across your other platforms. And as well, if you're sharing your TikTok on your Facebook, you can help to increase your followers on TikTok, because people might go, oh, actually, yeah, I didn't know that, you know, Rachel was on TikTok. I'll head on over there. And it just helps your content to be seen in more places. Another top tip that you might want to put into place as well, there's now a growing trend of TikTok influencers. So people who are growing TikTok channels growing a following on TikTok, and then they're working with brands to, like, that's how they're earning their living. So they're creating video content all the time on TikTok and they're getting paid for it through endorsements. So, you know, have a think about your business and have a think about whether there's any influencers that who are putting content out that may support your business example. So for example, if you were a mental health therapist, say for example you were offering sort of life coaching or mental health support for young people, there will be people talking about this kind of stuff on TikTok. Go find that content and then share it, but put your commentary around whether you agree with it or what your opinion is on that piece of content. So it's just another way to start to integrate that TikTok marketing into your into what you're already doing. Okay, but again, I think the most important thing with that is making sure that their message is consistent with yours. You know, don't just be sharing anything. I mean, unless you want to be sharing stuff around like topical events. So for example, the World Cup, there'd be some really funny TikToks on there. So if that's something that you think that your followers would find engaging, you know, that kind of thing is okay. But I would try and sort of stick to making sure that it's consistent with like the core essence of your business and your brand. Otherwise it can get a bit, you know, just need to be careful how you're sharing other people's stuff. I'm just going to check the just chatting about Apple phones and stuff. So yeah, that was a bit of an issue.
We can deal with those at the end, Rachel, because I think that will apply to everyone.
So here's just a little video that I did. This was in my house with my iPhone, and we've just put some subtitles on here. So this is just a little video. I don't think the sound's going to play, but you can see the subtitles. But yeah, this just took, I'd say, half an hour to film and probably about an hour and a half to edit. So 2 hours worth of content. But this is just an example of how I've pulled together 60 seconds of video, you know, trying to have a little bit of a laugh, but actually sort of talking about the, you know, my core message, which is stop dicking around on social media and make sure that you're talking about your business in a structured way. So yeah, that was my foray into TikTok. So again, the whole essence of this, like I say, you can really get lost into delving into the depths of understanding all these new channels and what have you. But I think, you know, I just wanted a reminder, you know, of the four-step process that I coach on in my business. Create a valuable piece of content, attract your target audience, engage with them and connect with them. I think they're just four really really key steps to just make sure that you've got those basics in place. It's all about relationships on social media. I think it's just really important to just make sure that you're using the platforms in the right way, because, you know, we're all busy people. We haven't got time to sort of get into these massive rabbit holes. If you are creating content, you just need to make sure that it's really good quality and really highly valuable. So again, I just wanted to, these are actually the core pillars of my business, but I just think that it's quite a good reminder for everybody of like the mix that you need to be thinking about all the time with your social media, no matter what channels or platforms that you're on. So to me, it's all about implementing social relationships. So for me, a good social media strategy is key, so that you know exactly who you're trying to target and how you need to find them. The structure to make sure that you've got a consistent message about your business and you're maximizing all of the opportunities for content within your business. You know, I'm uncovering a lot of opportunities with my clients, and people are saying, oh wow, I didn't even think that I could make that into a piece of content. So yeah, again, it's about making sure that you've got all of the tools and things that you need in place, and the accountability to make sure that you're actually implementing what you need to do for your social. But for me, it's all about relationships. That's conversations, collaborations, and conversions. So ultimately, it's all about talking to people and building relationships and getting them to purchase from you. So just put my contact details on there. If you wanted to follow me on LinkedIn, it's Rachel Emily Allen. And I've got a Facebook group that you might want to join if you wanted to engage and get some more hints and tips from me. So yeah, that is my presentation for today. So I'll just figure out a way to stop the share. There we go. So we're back to normal. Yeah.
Lovely. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you very much.
As we're down on numbers a bit, what we'll do is have a few minutes of questions, and then having done that, we will go into breakout rooms of 60 seconds each. Okay. So questions, people. I think Stephen, do you want to go first?
Hi, Rachel. That was really interesting, actually. Really enjoyed that presentation. Just thinking, I mean, I work with a lot of my clients. There's a mixture in terms of their attitude to social media marketing. So some are really really savvy and they're brilliant, you know, and they lead the way. But others are kind of really know they want to do it, and that you know from seeing other clients do it that they would be brilliant if they did it. How can you guide people or offer packages to people that would help them, these dinosaurs, get like me, get onto it, you know?
So I think for me, it's all about taking people on a step-by-step process. So if you feel really icky, like, you know, I don't want to be dancing around pointing at stuff because I just think it's stupid, but I'll find another fun way to do it. So I think it's about trying to work with somebody and say, how do you want to do this? So for example, I'm working with a guy at the moment. He's very introverted until he gets on his subject. So I'm working with him to kind of shake everything out. Actually, articles, blog content, written content, that's what he's feeling more comfortable with. So, you know, it doesn't have to be Facebook lives. Like, let's just start somewhere, start with something. And I would say text and images, it's better than nothing. And I would also say sort of trying to build, maybe then once you've got a bit of content that's going out, then start looking at other people with a bit more of an audience, and then saying, you know, could I possibly come and speak in your network, because I think it would add some value, and slowly build it up that way. Like, I don't think that you're going to get an accountant go from like 0 to TikTok, viral TikToks. Like, that's just ridiculous. In my opinion. Hopefully that would help.
Sorry, hi Rachel. You said that TikTok, the funny video, it took you what, half an hour to make?
Yeah, half an hour to make, and then about an hour and a half to put together.
Oh my god. So that's, I mean, how many videos do you do a day? 5, 6 then, or?
Oh, nothing like that. Nothing like that. I don't produce that level of content myself.
No.
I think because as well, I mean, I'm running a business, I run other people's social media for them. That particular video, we kind of we'd sort of, actually, to be fair, we'd also done half an hour to plan out each frame so that we had a bit of a script for it as well. You know, it was a bit of a silly video, but it really reflects my personality. But the message is really important around, you know, people taking action and being accountable and things. But yeah, I haven't got the time to put out that volume of content a day.
But are you then sharing that on other platforms as well?
Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, all over the place. And the thing is, there's nothing particular other than the fact I'm in a summary top. It's nothing time sensitive about it, so I can keep sharing that and using that. Right, and that's the thing. I can keep putting that across all my different platforms, and that's what I coach people to do, because as well, with the tools and things that I'm using, you've got that oversight of all of the platforms that you've got available, so you can kind of go, okay, so I can start plotting this out so that you're really maximizing the availability of your content. Because a lot of people create, you know, for me to create that piece of content once that took, let's say, 2.5 hours, and use it once, complete waste of time. It's about sort of building really valuable, high valuable assets.
Any other questions? questions?
There was one from Sue about B2B professionals. They just don't engage on social media fun platforms, even research suppliers, let alone buy it. Sue, was there anything else to add on that question at all? I really take your point.
Yeah, I just they don't. I mean, it's hard enough on LinkedIn. Many of them are on there and do nothing, and just about might connect with someone who is introduced by somebody, let alone actually engage in a conversation. Even the ones they initiate, even the ones where they put their own articles out and people reply, you don't see them replying back. So they're just quite reticent.
I think in markets like that, it's about making sure that if people are looking you up, so like I look people up and I kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, they look like they know what they're talking about. Their message is very consistent about X, Y, and Z. I therefore know that they are going to be good at X, Y, and Z because they're answering my questions about that subject. So in markets like that, that you may not get the engagement, but it's about making sure that you've got that sort of really consistent message, I think. But yeah, you'll be doing business with them in other ways.
Okay, Eva, you had a question.
Well, I sort of follow up really to what Sue just said. So we have about 80% customers that are non-businesses and probably about 20% that are businesses. And I've had business from really strange places that I never expected. And one of them is from so because we were looking at old media and there's some businesses out there that I've been sorting out, like all of us have over COVID, and they were looking for someone to do it, and someone that I had interacted with who had used us personally then recommended us on a journalist media site, and we got business from that. So I think what I'm trying to say to Sue and everybody is all back to relationships, and I think networking has changed so much over the last 15 months or so, and relationships, and it is that sort of drip, which I think you were talking about as well, Rachel, and it is just dripping it in there. And I think in a really weird way, the lines are getting blurred, like Steve, when you're an accountant, it's like someone might come to me and say, do you know a good accountant? Do you know there is like and I don't have any expertise more than as a business owner to say, yeah, this has been good, this has not been good. But I just think that the know, trust is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and throwing an advert out and look good for most small businesses is just not going to work as much anymore as that sort of educating, telling, which is Rachel just said. And I think there are some statistics to say that people have to see at least 5 times to want to buy. 12 to 17 times is the average before someone says, yeah, I really like this person.
Yeah, I work on 21, you need 21 touch points. And I think as well, if you saw an ad on social, but then nothing on, but then there wasn't any content adding value around those subject matters on your sort of non-paid channels, that credibility, you're immediately going to go, oh, is that a scam? Because anyone can pull a Facebook ad together. But if you're sort of proving that you've got, Google reviews about your service, and you're talking about it consistently on your channels and adding value.
And we're really good at that in this group, is if you throw something out on LinkedIn, and it would work on any of the other platforms as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sort of say like, yeah, V, that's great, or Stephen, I loved it when you helped me, or whatever. It's just given that credibility, and it's not just something on a line, it's actually something a bit more personal underneath it, and saying, I really like Alan, I really like Steve, and people who then respect me will respect my opinion, and on it goes. And I think that it's strange out there. So I think my question, Rachel, is, so my customers are all generally 50 plus.
Yeah.
Is there any mileage for me to do TikTok?
I definitely think you could do, because I think, like I say, you can create your videos in TikTok, get the reach, because the thing is, the adults that people are on there that will become your target market. So again, you want to kind of maybe make sure that you've got a platform and you're starting to build a following. But also the young people might go, oh yeah, I saw this thing talking to their parents, for example, that could get you sales. But
so little we have this, it tends to be, Yeah, I mean, I do know my customer quite well now.
Yeah.
But you know, I was just asking. Yeah, I'll take your point.
So
And
Alan asked a question: is there a limit to the number of channels we should be on? Which kind of ties into this piece. If you're absolutely crushing it on your social media channels and you've got good relationships and good engagement and you're proving that you're getting the sales come through, just stick to that. If that's all you've got the capacity to do, because I think what happens, the reason why people get overwhelmed is they go, oh my God, there's all these new platforms, I need to be on there. Oh my God, I need to be tweeting 25 times a day. And it's like, do you get anything from Twitter? No, because it's toxic and horrible. I'm really anti-Twitter. You know, but if you do, you know, there are some businesses that work really well on Twitter. Absolutely. You know, and it's going back to that strategy. It's about understanding who your target customer is and where they're hanging out online. I hate Twitter. You'll never see me on there unless I'm scouring for news or talking to journalists. It's just, you know, so for me, it's about Facebook and LinkedIn.
Stories is another one. So I started doing Instagram stories probably regularly, let's say 3 months ago, could have been a bit longer. And now, because it doesn't take very long, so I used to post, I make the story, takes me max 5 minutes. Then I just save the story and I put it out on Facebook and Instagram and even on LinkedIn. And where the LinkedIn stories to start with, I had no reach whatsoever. I frequently get 15 to 20 people looking there now. And
yeah. LinkedIn stories is a bit of a funny one. I'm mainly connected with,
so I don't care.
I don't. If you're creating it anyway and you can do it and you've got a different audience, why not? But I think people will respond better to stories on Facebook and Instagram. I'm a bit funny about LinkedIn. I think it's a great platform, but I'm like, have you come up with anything new and innovative, or are you just producing slightly less functionality? You know, is your functionality just a rubbish version of what Facebook's come up with? And that's where I think they are a bit LinkedIn. But I mean, LinkedIn's a great platform for me. I get loads of work that way, loads of relationships. So it is really good. So I would say, is there a limit to the number of channels we should be on? I think no. I would say you don't want to just have your whole business on Facebook, because if something goes wrong, you've lost your whole business. So you need to make sure that you've got people like email signed up, so that if you got blocked on Facebook, you can still run your business. I still think Facebook is a brilliant business platform. Again, massive fan of LinkedIn. I think in some markets you can do Instagram, and you can do Instagram well. But again, I think you have to put, like, you get in what you put out.